Imagine for a second that you are standing at the entrance of a library.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want you to picture, your local neighborhood branch with a couple of cozy chairs. I want you to imagine a fortress of knowledge.
Right.
A structure so massive that if you just started walking down the aisles, you might not find your way out for days.
It's a great image. We are not talking about a single bookshelf here. We're talking about a literary landscape.
Exactly. And just to give you a sense of scale, because the numbers we found in the research for this are, well, they're honestly mind-boggling. We are looking at a collection of texts roughly 11 times the size of the Bible.
11 times. It's immense.
It is.
And it's not just the sheer volume that's impressive. It's the engineering behind it. That's what always gets me. It's not a random pile of scrolls.
That's what struck me too. We are exploring the Tripitaka, or as it's more commonly known, the Tripitaka.
Yeah.
This is the primary source material for Theravada Buddhism. But if you think this is just a collection of nice quotes for Instagram, you are vastly underestimating what we have here. This is a system.
It absolutely is. It's a complete architectural blueprint for the human mind and, by extension, society. And to navigate something that big, you need a map.
And that is exactly our mission today. We are going to map out this entire territory. The source material describes the Tripitaka as containing the Sri Siddharma, which translates to the Noble True Doctrine.
The Noble True Doctrine.
But here's the hook for me, and this is where the system aspect really shines. It is so meticulously organized into 3 specific baskets.
Which is literally what Tripitaka means. T is 3, Pitaka is basket.
Okay, so let's pause right there. Baskets. Why are baskets? Why not the 3 books or the 3 vaults? Baskets feel a little bit, I don't know, temporary.
Well, you have to transport yourself back to the ancient world. Think about a construction site in, say, 500 BC. How did you move earth? How did you move materials?
With baskets.
You use baskets. You pass them down the line from one person to the next.
So it implies movement, transmission.
Exactly. It's not static. These teachings were passed from teacher to student, hand to hand, generation to generation, like baskets on a construction line. It's functional.
I love that. It's not just sitting there, it's being handed to you.
Yeah.
So we have 3 massive baskets to unpack. The Vinaya, the Sutta, and the Abhidhamma.
A very meticulous organization.
It feels like we're looking at a code base for a really, really complex piece of software.
That is a fantastic analogy, actually.
Oh.
If you think of Buddhism as an operating system for the mind, these 3 baskets are the documentation.
Okay.
You have the user agreement and community guidelines. That's the Vinaya.
Right.
You have the user interface and the tutorials. That's the Sutta. And then you have the back-end code, the raw zeros and ones. That's the Abhidhamma.
Let's stick with that analogy because it really helps. Let's start with the community guidelines. The first basket, the Vinaya Pitaka.
The foundation of discipline.
Now, be honest. When I hear discipline or rules, I immediately think of some strict schoolmaster or maybe a self-help book telling you to take cold showers at 4 a.m. Is that what we're looking at here?
Not quite. It's much more nuanced. The source material defines this specifically as samvarasila, which is the discipline of restraint.
Restraint, okay.
But here's the crucial context. This wasn't written for just anyone. This is the constitutional law for the bhikkhu and bhikkhuni sangha, the monks and nuns.
So it's an internal document.
It is. It's the legal framework for the monastic order. The Buddha wasn't just a philosopher under a tree. He was building an institution. He was managing thousands of people.
And whenever you get thousands of people together...
Things get messy. People are people. They argue, they slack off, they make mistakes.
So the Vinaya is the solution to that messiness.
And it is exhaustive. I'm looking at the breakdown now, and it's divided into 5 distinct books. And the names themselves tell a story. The first one is the Parajika Pali.
And reading the description of this one, it sounds intense. Parajika. It translates to defeat, right?
Yeah. Yes. This is the heavy stuff.
Defeat in what sense?
Defeat in the holy life. If a monk breaks one of these rules, they are defeated. They're expelled from the order immediately. No second chances.
What kind of offenses are we talking about?
The gravest ones. Things like killing, stealing, sexual intercourse, or, and this one's interesting, falsely claiming you have superpowers.
Wait, superpowers?
We can say that for another deep dive, but yes. Claiming spiritual attainments you don't actually have is a defeat.
It's about integrity.
Exactly. It's the absolute bottom line.
Yeah.
You cross this line, you are out.
High stakes right from the start. So that sets the boundary. Then we move to the next book, the Basidi Pali.
These are offenses that require some kind of confession or remedy. They're serious, but they aren't fatal to your career as a monk, you can fix them.
So it starts with severity. It prioritizes. It's like triage.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, then the structure shifts a bit. We get the Mahavagga Pali and the Kulavagga Pali. Now, my Pali's a little rusty, but Maha usually means big, right?
You got it. The greater division and the lesser division. But don't let the names fool you. Lesser doesn't mean unimportant. These books are fascinating because they move from crimes into procedures.
Procedures?
Yeah.
Like how to run a meeting.
Exactly like meetings. How do you ordain a new monk? How do you hold a confession meeting? How do you settle a dispute between two monks who can't stand each other? How do you assign lodgings?
It sounds like Robert's Rules of Order for the 5th century BC.
It is precisely that. It even covers things like medicine, robes, how to use the toilet properly. It's showing that to reach enlightenment, you first need a stable environment.
Of course. You can't meditate if you're fighting over who gets the best room.
That's it. And then the 5th book in this basket is the Paravara Pali.
And that is?
Essentially the summary. It's a manual for studying the rules, a digest or a catechism to help the monks memorize this huge legal code. Remember, they had to memorize all of this.
So zooming out on this first basket, the Vinaya, it's not just rules, it's the mechanism that keeps the entire community from falling apart.
Correct. Without the Vinaya, the philosophy has nowhere to live. It's the container. If the basket is broken, the contents spill out.
Okay, so the container is secure, the community is regulated, the user agreement is signed. Now we can actually look at the content, the second division, the Sutta Pitaka.
The discourses. This is what most people think of when they think of Buddhism. If you buy a book called The Teachings of the Buddha at an airport, it's probably from this basket.
The source calls this Paramagambhira Sri Saddharma, the Supreme Deep Doctrine. That's a weighty title. And the numbers here are just staggering. Over 17,000 distinct stories.
17,000 conversations. And that's a key word, conversations. While the Vinaya was legal code, the Sutta Pitaka is narrative. It's dialogue.
Right.
It's the Buddha talking to kings, beggars, serial killers, farmers.
It feels more alive.
It is. It's the user interface. It's where the theory meets the real world.
But again, 17,000 is a logistical nightmare. Imagine 17,000 files on your desktop. So they organize them using this Nikaya system.
Right. Nikaya just means collection. There are 5 of them. And the filing system is pretty practical. It's mostly based on length and theme.
So let's walk through the shelves. First up, the Digha Nikaya.
The long discourses. These are the epics. If the Buddha is debating a famous philosopher about the nature of the universe or the caste system, it's going to be in here.
The deep dives.
The very deep dives. They take hours just to recite. Then you have the Majjhima Nikaya.
The middle-length discourses.
These are probably the most popular for study because they're bite-sized but still very deep. Meditation techniques, karma, psychology. It's the meat and potatoes of the doctrine.
And then the formatting changes with the Samyutta Nikaya.
The connected discourses. Here, the librarians got clever. They grouped suttas by topic. So if you want everything the Buddha said about the 5 senses, it's filed together.
It's like using a hashtag system before hashtags even existed.
It is. And then there's the Anguttara Nikaya.
Which you said was your favorite.
I love the Anguttara because it shows how much they cared about memory. It's the numerical discourses. It groups teachings by number, the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, and so on.
Wait, explain that. How does that help with memory?
Well, imagine you're a monk. If you know the number 4, your brain automatically triggers the list. The 4 noble truths, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, the 4 right efforts.
Oh, wow. It turns the library into a memory palace.
It's a mnemonic device built into the very structure. In an oral tradition, structure was the only way to prevent corruption.
Brilliant. And finally, the catch-all, the Khuddaka Nikaya.
The minor collection. But minor is a terrible translation. It has some of the most famous texts in the world in it.
Like what?
This is where you find the Dhammapada, the verses of wisdom, and the Jataka tales, the stories of the Buddha's past lives. It's the anthology of poetry and stories that didn't fit neatly into the other boxes.
Okay, so let's look at where we are. The Vinaya keeps the monks in line, the rules. The Sutta Pitaka provides the narrative, the philosophy, the wisdom. That feels pretty complete, doesn't it? I mean, what else could there be?
And honestly, that is where most people stop. For 90% of practitioners, that is Buddhism. But there's a third basket.
Right.
And this is where we go from philosophy to atomic physics of the mind. We're talking about the Abhidhamma Pitaka.
The stats on this section absolutely blew my mind. The source says the total teaching has 84,000 units of teaching Dharmaskandhas.
84,000. That's the traditional count.
And here's the kicker. Nearly half of them, 42,000 units, are in this third basket alone.
Yeah.
The Abhidhamma accounts for 50% of the data volume of the entire doctrine. Why? What is taking up so much space?
Precision. That's the only word for it. Abhidhamma means higher teaching or meta teaching. See, in the suttas, the Buddha might say, John got angry because he was insulted.
Okay, conventional language.
Yeah.
Relatable.
Right. But in the Abhidhamma, John doesn't exist. Insult doesn't exist. Even anger gets broken down. It looks at the specific mental states arising and passing away in nanoseconds. It's the raw data of consciousness.
So it deconstructs reality.
It strips the paint off the walls. It looks at the studs, the wiring, the foundation. It's the deep analysis.
And just like the others, it has its own structure. 7 books, or prakaranas. And I have to say, the titles sound, well, technical.
Extremely technical. It starts with the Dhamma Sangani.
The enumeration of phenomena.
It literally lists every single possible state of consciousness. It creates a matrix of the mind. Good states, bad states, neutral states, it maps them all.
And the Vibhanga, the book of analysis.
Which takes those lists and crunches the data, explaining how they function and interact.
And then we have Ditthikatha and Pugalapanati.
Discussion of elements and designation of individuals. That second one classifies types of people based on their mental qualities. It's almost like a personality framework, but for spiritual potential.
Then the Kathavatu points of controversy. This sounds like there's some drama.
There is. It was added later to settle debates in the community. It uses pure logic to debunk misconceptions. It's a masterclass in how to debate without getting emotional.
Yamaka, the book of pairs.
That one's a logic puzzle, designed to test your understanding by asking questions in pairs to break binary thinking.
And finally, the monster at the end. The one that scares all the scholars. The Pathana.
Conditional relations. This is the big bang of the Abhidhamma.
What makes it so big?
It describes how everything in the universe relates to everything else. It lays out 24 specific conditions, cause and effect, proximity support, and then it runs every phenomenon through those conditions.
It's mapping the web of causality itself.
That is where those 42,000 units really come from. It's infinite. It's the back-end code of the universe.
It is. It's the source code. So we have the discipline, Vinaya, the discourse, Sutta, and the analysis, Bheva. It's just a staggering amount of information. And I have to admit, it's a little intimidating. It feels like a library you're not supposed to touch.
It can feel that way. It's easy to think, that's for the experts, for the monks.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the most important part of our source material today. There's a quote that tells us how we're supposed to treat this library.
Yes, this is from the Anguttara Nikaya, the numbered discourses you mentioned. The translation reads, Bhikkhus, the teaching and discipline declared by the Tathagata shines when manifest and not when covered.
Shines when manifest and not when covered. That is the operating principle of the entire system.
Let's unpack the Pali terms there because they add so much flavor.
The words are vivata, which means open, exposed, roofless, and parichana, which means hidden or covered up. And the Dhamma, the teaching, is vivata.
It's open. The text contrasts that with other things, right?
It does. It says things like secret mantras or wrongdoings only shine when they're kept secret. Think about it. A trade secret, you hide it. If you're a spy, you operate in the shadows. But the Buddha is saying, this system is the opposite. It only works if you open the box.
It's like open source software versus proprietary software.
That's it. It relies on transparency to function. If you hide the rules, they become tools of oppression. If you hide the philosophy, it becomes a cult. But if you lay it all out manifest, it shines bir e chati.
That's a powerful idea. It suggests that keeping this information, Kate, kept saying, oh, the Abhidhamma is too hard for you, or the Vinaya is only for monks, so don't read it. That actually diminishes the teaching.
It stops it from shining. What we're doing right now, by listing these books, by defining Parajika, we are making this system manifest. We are taking the roof off the library.
So this deep dives is almost a ritual act. We're not just summarizing. We are fulfilling the requirement of the text. We are uncovering the basket.
Precisely. The library isn't a museum where you look at book spines behind glass. You're supposed to pull them down. Read the user agreement, the Vinaya, listen to the user stories, the Sutta.
And check the code, the Abhidhamma. I really like that. It makes the size of it all feel inviting rather than scary. It's supposed to be seen.
It wants to be seen.
So to recap the map we've drawn today, we have the Vinaya Pitaka, the foundation of ethical behavior and community survival. The container. We have the Sutta Pitaka, the 17,000 diverse voices of wisdom and meditation instructions. The content.
Right.
And we have the Abhidhamma Pitaka, the 42,000 unit deep analysis of reality itself, the code.
84,000 teachings in total. A complete ecosystem for the mind.
And the instruction manual for the whole library is simple. Keep it open. Let it shine.
That's the big takeaway. Don't hide the wisdom.
So here's the question we want to leave you with today. We've shown you the map. We've opened the doors to the library. But as the text says, it only shines when you make it manifest.
Right. So knowing what you know now, knowing there's a basket for discipline, a basket for stories, and a basket for deep analysis, which one might be missing from your life?
Are you operating without a user agreement? Are you maybe just skimming the surface without checking the source code? Or do you have the code, but you've forgotten the stories?
The library is open. Which book are you going to pull off the shelf?
Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
See you next time.